Good evening and welcome. I'm very excited to be working with your students this year. AP Computer Science Principles has been redesignated as a AP and CTE course as well. And so it's the first course in this series of 3 courses that make up our new CTE pathway in computer science. So that's very new and exciting. Also, our course has undergone some curricular revisions through our curriculum provider, which is code.org. And so it's a very good time to be I've told students there's never been a better time to be learning computer science. There are so many resources out there. Most of them, many of them are freely available even. And so this is just a really exciting time to be a student, I think. And this is a fantastic course to get them started in the fantastic career opportunities that exist in computer science. First and foremost, I want to share everything is in Canvas. So this is one-stop shopping. If you or your students are interested in what assignments are being given or other materials, it's all posted in Canvas. So in the green arrow there, the modules tab, the modules contain all of our materials and all of our assignments. So everything that we do is in an electronic format. It's kind of natural with the computing course. So all those materials will be posted electronically in the assignments. That includes the due dates. Everything there that they need to know is in the modules tab. Secondly, under the pages, I do record each of our class meetings in Zoom. And so any of those class meetings, each of those meeting recordings, I should say, are posted in the Pages tab in Canvas. If a student's absent, or even if they just want to take a second listen of the instruction of the lecture, or see me demonstrate something again in our Code Studio platform. So anything like that is available in the Pages tab for the Zoom recordings of each lesson. In terms of grading policies, one thing is that Canvas, you may have noticed, does have a gradebook, and other teachers that your students have may be using the Canvas gradebook if they do have an integration with Infinite Campus. I've decided just to use Infinite Campus only, so there's not 2 separate grade books to maintain or any potential inconsistencies between the 2 grade books. So that is one preference I'm going to have in this particular course. You'll see the assignments are still posted in Canvas. They just will have 0 points assigned to them, and all those points will be recorded in Infinite Campus as the only place will be in Infinite Campus. Secondly, there are no late penalty on programs or regular assignments. If students, and this is common in computing and programming in particular, if you get stuck, there's a bug in your program and you just, it's frustrating and you can't find it, you need to step away and come back to it, sleep on it, come back the next day or whatever. That's a very common approach to problem solving, is to kind of take a break from it or have someone else look at it and come back to it later. Sometimes you just need a new fresh set of eyes or whatever. I want to provide that flexibility to students. So there won't be a late penalty on programs or those regular assignments throughout the year. However, students can also procrastinate, and this flexibility can turn into a bad thing. And so no credit will be given for late work that is submitted after taking the unit test for that content in that unit. So there still is a firm accountability date of the test date. There's 2 reasons for that. One is we don't want this to extend to the end of the semester, and then students are going back to unit 1 in December and trying to get credit for late work. There's been a lot of lost learning along the way. And computing principles and the commands we learn build on themselves. So we don't want students to be falling behind from a learning standpoint either, because that's going to affect their scores and their learning all throughout the year. And we don't want to wait until the very end and just do something because it's worth a grade and not because it could have been helping us learn all along. So no credit will be given if for late work submitted after the unit test. However, I still encourage students to go back and complete that work, because we don't want to have gaps in their understanding or anything. So still do the work, still do the learning. Just after that unit test, it won't be for credit in the gradebook. The tests that we take are through a platform called Code Studio. That is through our code.org curriculum provider. And that will be taken synchronously in class. Just this past week, we took our first unit test, in fact, on Unit 3. And so everything is done in that platform online. Most of the questions are multiple choice. There are a couple that we'll have from time to time that are free response. But most of them are multiple choice, and those are scored pretty quickly, and then I get the grades posted very soon as well. Be proactive, I encourage students. Be proactive with test preparation especially. Be prepared, keep up with all the assignments so that you can score your very best. That gives you time to ask for help if you have questions along the way, before we actually go down that road of having multiple low test scores that really create a drag on the semester grade. And then of course all the anxiety that can come from not earning college credit, and not passing the AP exam, college applications, of course, and college admissions. There's the scholarship opportunities that are tied to grades. So this does get pretty high stakes as you get to the junior and senior level courses, the college level courses. And we want to make sure that we can be proactive as much as we can and avoid going down those roads in the first place. And finally, one low test score or one low assignment is not going to ruin your grade, just to be clear on that. There are multiple opportunities for students to improve their grade, to revise and resubmit regular assignments, and to raise your grade. We do not have test retakes in particular, so those are a one and done type deal. But we do have multiple tests. There's 10 total units throughout the year. So we're gonna have 5 tests throughout the semester. So it's a little less than, a little less than 1 month for every test that we take. So it does go pretty quick, and so there's plenty of opportunities, even though we don't have test retakes, to have, to bounce back and have other high test scores to offset those low ones. And we also do have, as I said, the no late penalty for programs or other assignments that are submitted late for revised credit. So students can always go back if they get a 3 out of 5 on a program, for example. They can always, I leave feedback on all those cases where students get less than a 5 out of 5. And students can respond to that feedback and resubmit new work and get full credit, 5 out of 5 on those programs, for example. All right, so there's always good opportunities to raise your grade, even if you don't do your very best on the first time around. So in terms of support and intervention, especially in this online environment, the key is going to be the frequent student-initiated feedback. So I'm going to be reaching out to students frequently as well to get their ideas and feedback and input on how things are going. But that's not going to be sufficient, especially in an online environment where it's much more difficult for me as a teacher to see the look on a kid's face, to more easily walk over to their desk and see what work they have, or asking and answering questions. It's not impossible in an online environment, but just that there's a little more friction built into those online systems. And so it's really going to come down to the frequency of the student-initiated feedback. And I've actually been very pleased so far with the amount of feedback that students have been providing so far. I've been intentional about creating multiple lines of communication so that students can reach out to me multiple ways. Some are time sensitive, some are not. For example, email. Email is nice. You have recorded threads. You can look back at the history. Of course, that's not immediate, right? So we also have Remind, and that is more of immediate. I can't promise always responding quickly. I won't always be attached to my phone, as you know. But when I am, I can respond more timely to Reminds than I can to email. And so students have been asking questions so far through Remind, and that's been very effective. I think many students prefer those messaging type services rather than email anyway. So we have Remind in place. And then I will be having students complete a weekly check-in form. That'll be typically on our asynchronous Mondays. That's asking them, how do you feel with our learning from this past week? Are there any stresses or anxieties or worries you have or concerns that you have? Could be academically related or non-academically related. So any of those type of things that students can share with me will help me meet their needs more effectively. We also have the 30-minute intervention periods after each class. Typically, those will be for open office hours. We will have formal interventions from time to time as needed. But typically, there will be open office hours if, very common in computer science. So students say, I got a bug in my program. I can't find this error or whatever. And they can share the screen with me, and I can look at their code and troubleshoot that way. So that's just time for students to check in and pop in and out as needed to get the questions answered. We can also schedule individual meetings as needed. For example, if it's just a quick little fix, I can do that even on Remind or by email, for example. But sometimes a reteaching of an entire concept is required. So I might schedule an individual meeting during intervention or maybe even outside, depending on the availability, where I can actually take 5 or 10 minutes and reteach a topic and work more slowly with a student or several students throughout a particular concept. I mentioned that the videos of all our Zoom lessons are posted in Canvas, so I encourage students to make good use of those. And then also AP readiness through UC Riverside. That is going to be done all online this year as well, but that will be done. And they've made some nice changes to accommodate the online environment. And so any supplemental instruction and participation that students can get through UCR would be a very beneficial advantage that students have for preparation for this AP exam in the spring. All right, so that is it. Thank you for your time tonight. If you have any questions, please reach out to me anytime. And I look forward to teaching and learning from your students this year. Take care.